Well, let me ask, now that we're on the other side of it, because it really kind of didn't hit me until we were rewatching Beastmaster today, where again, I'm like, man, I remember making this list, and now here we are at its end. And so obviously you approved pretty much everything we watched. Uh, of the ones that you had not seen before, any highlights? Anything that stood out specifically that you were like, you know what, that was a good find.
I think Splinter overall was just a shot in the dark. Had one of my favorite actors in it. Wasn't expecting. Um, and for a 2000s movie, it didn't feel cheap like a lot of them did. Although Prison was pretty dope. I mean, overall, it was a nice find. I think mostly because of Vigo showing up and doing his Vigo thing. That one was kind of a surprise because you don't put a lot of stock in a movie that a one word title movie. I mean, most people didn't put a lot of stock in Scream, but it blew up. But like, come on.
So would you say the one cop getting ripped in half in Splinter, would that be the effect of the summer tour? Because really, I think if we're gonna compare it to anything else, I think really it would have to go up against something in Prison, right? Like I can't think of anything else that was. I mean, unless you're gonna go like with how the one chick ends up looking in Fright Night, but
So are you asking what my thoughts on the journey as a whole were described by one of the movies?
what? Well, like, what do you think was the best special effect that we saw?
Oh, the best effect. 'Cause I thought you were getting metaphorical there, and I was like, oh, dude, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know
no,
if I'm
no,
ready.
no.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Mhm.
Um, the torsoing in Splinter's pretty
Yeah,
damn heavy. As cool as the Tetsuo was in Prison, that's pretty damn close.
I mean,
Uh,
and then like, see, I'm going back and forth on which one I liked more was the drop in Prison or the one where the guy gets all barbed wire Hellraiser style and then goes through the ceiling.
it's a damn good one too. I mean, Prison had a couple of moments like that. Splinter had gore, but it was kind of
I got to appreciate that it
mm,
was at least practical for sure. I mean, not to say
yeah.
that Prison wasn't. Prison was definitely practical for sure. But I think it was even more impressive and surprising because Splinter was the year, like it was post 2000s.
Yeah. Um, if Maximum Overdrive had the steamroller going over the head effect still put in, I probably would just give it to that one out of principle because an AC/DC song was playing over the background while that happened. Um, but yeah, I think the creativity of the two kills in Prison kind of just make it worth it. I mean, let's see. Let's go back across the board again. Maximum Overdrive.
Then we had the curse.
Then we had the curse.
And then let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Splinter,
Splinter.
Critters,
Critters.
Fright Night,
Fright Night.
Prison,
Prison.
Leprechaun 3, and then Beastmaster.
So Critters had some fun effects.
Yeah. Nothing that blew me away, but it was that was a lot of fun. And I can't imagine the kind of I mean, I heard about what it was like just having to do Gremlins. So I imagine that they were in that same kind of boat, nightmarish with critters.
Yeah, I can
Granted,
see that.
granted, I think they used a little bit more puppets than critters. They weren't as hard on themselves.
When they
as
you could tell they were using a puppet when they shot one of them, and it flew off the screen. I actually think, as much as I like those two effects in Prison, I'm actually going to give the nod to Fright Night. Not just at the fact it's a better movie, but the effects that are used in the movie are consistent throughout. The reverse transformation after Evil Ed gets killed is uncomfortably awesome. But did I mention it was uncomfortable? Because it was very, very uncomfortable. The cross through the forehead, when Amy does turn into, big vampire boss, like it's a Castlevania game. Loved it. I I think actually in terms of overall product and an overall effect though, I'm gonna retract what I said. I'm gonna give it to Fright Night.
Now, while I think on a technical level, in terms of like gore and effectiveness and fun, I dug the Splinter body getting ripped in half, but that wasn't my favorite effect. My favorite effect is definitely not the most technically impressive thing that we saw, but it put the biggest smile on my face, and it was the asteroid or the meteorite from the curse crashing into the field, because it was just a nod to the old school style of how that shit looked. I was just like, the fact that they did it that way, I was like, you know what? I like how this looks. Like, you could see the ball on the string, like a little sparkler behind it.
Damn, that wasn't. It's like Night of the Comet. Makes you feel away. Or Night of the Creeps, actually, too. They did that in that at the end. Huh.
But and to answer the one question that I was going into watching The Curse was, as if I was going to enjoy that or the Nick Cage movie, and I didn't dislike the Nick Cage movie. The Nick Cage movie, though, it's full of weird, which is not bad. Sometimes you need the weird, but if we're gonna go with which telling of the story did I enjoy more, I'm gonna go with The Curse. But when you need the weird, the Nick Cage version is always there.
How close do you want to be to the source material when you watch the movie? Is another way to look at it, because the weird. If you're a Lovecraft fan, go right for it. If you're not quite there yet, The Curse is over here and gets you the most of the same story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know what I was also noticing too was, because I was mentioning it to Gabe before the show, during the past week, because we had to watch Leprechaun 3. Me and the wife has watched Leprechaun 1 and 2. Now you've seen, I think probably the one that you would remember the best had, I mean, I know we just came off of 3, but you remember 1.
Oh,
First, yeah. Now, the look, like the quality of that film grain, like just the look of Leprechaun 1. I'm like, that's what the Beastmaster looks like.
yeah. Yeah, it does. And Leprechaun was like, what, 89?
I saw that look, because you're like, wait a minute, that sounds like an insult. You're like, wait, no, and then, oh wait, and then I saw it. You're like, no, wait, yeah, it does.
Yeah. I'm usually pretty good at matching film stocks and stuff, but it does look. It actually looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable.
Leprechaun
But it
Strikes
doesn't feel
Again.
the same.
No, totally different movies. Two totally different movies.
Thank
Um,
goodness.
but I enjoyed it. Having watched I don't know. I don't know what I would say overall was my favorite movie. I know that I think I went in expecting the most out of The Curse and Prison. Both were good quality movies, but they didn't deliver in either of the way that I was kind of hoping they would. But again, that's not a slight against them. They were both good movies. Um, I think I enjoyed Maximum Overdrive more than I thought that I would. Um, that was a fun movie. Fright Night was good. Like I said, didn't hate Leprechaun 3.
I didn't either.
Uh, I'm gonna say the surprise of the show was Splinter, but I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Maximum Overdrive, being my favorite of the bunch.
Your stop of the road trip was Maximum Overdrive out of the 8 movies listed. My God, that's the best answer I've ever heard.
All of them were good movies. Like they all performed perfectly. I have nothing against any of those movies. I would rewatch any of them. Um some just ahead of others, but I think the one movie that like I consistently had fun from beginning to end and just it kept delivering a laugh or something impressive, it'd have to be Maximum Overdrive.
I don't hate the answer, sir.
Well,
I'm trying not to piss a lot of people off. But that's probably my favorite stop too. But that's okay. Because I want to say Fright Night. Because it's not really a surprise. I've seen it, but I know like it's a good one. But I want to join you in Maximum Overdrive land.
it was just fun, and it was fun, and I really want to play some Twisted Metal now.
I'm still pissed that we did not talk about it during the show after we said it. That was the last thing that we said before we started the show. Fuck.
Yeah. But we will have fun. I will plan for next summer. I mean, we're gonna be doing some stuff before then, of course. But uh I will park the bus in the garage. It'll get clean, renovated, and ready to go for next summer.